Hello, my name is Robert Nelson, and I'm here to discuss with you why I believe that letting our children take notepads and Kindles to school is not necessarily a good idea. There's been a new trend going on, especially this year here where I live, in the high schools, to let our kids bring in these devices to school as, as they put it, for educational purposes. They're only supposed to be allowed to use it when they're not doing their schoolwork, when they have some downtime or whatever. But I don't believe that it's necessarily a good idea because these items tend to be distractions for these kids. Most kids aren't getting on there and doing extra schoolwork. What they're doing is they're getting on there and they're just watching YouTube videos, playing their games, or reading their own personal books or whatever. And there's really no added value to their schoolwork that they're doing. This is something that they could be left to do at home. This isn't the only reason. That I have many other reasons that I'm going to bring up here in a minute that I believe that support my case for these devices not to be brought to school, but this is one of the main points that I want to bring up because they are distractions. If they want to use these devices for schoolwork, if they have a book that they need to read for school and say write a paper on it or whatever, there is absolutely no reason why they can't do that at home. There's no reason to take it to school because I can guarantee you they're not just going to do that schoolwork on that Kindle or that notepad while they're at school and nothing else. They're going to use it for personal use, and there is no reason for that. They're at school to learn, not to play games, not to watch YouTube videos or anything like that. Another reason is that today kids are always listening to their iPads. They're always got their nose in their Xboxes and all that, and they're doing this while they're studying for their exams or they're doing their homework or whatever. And I can guarantee you, if you ask them how much are they're retaining while they're doing all this other stuff, they're not going to be able to really tell you. They're probably going to look at you and say, well, I'm not really sure. I can tell you this, this, and this, but they can't really give you a definitive answer because the brain is trying to process all this digital that's going on in their head, and it can't do that and sit here and focus on every single word of a book or everything that they're trying to study at the same time. They need to be focused on their schoolwork, not focused on this and that too. Another reason why they don't necessarily need these things in the school is they have school libraries. These school libraries have computers in them. These computers have internet access. If they need to look up something on the internet or something other like that, all they got to do is go to the library, sit down on the computer, and look it up there. They don't need to have that Kindle or that notepad or their phone or whatever and sitting in class and trying to look it up there, disturbing other students who may be wanting to pay attention to their teacher. They can go to their school libraries and look it up there in quiet and get the information they need, print it off, and go. A third reason that I don't believe that they need these is that to download these books and stuff that say they may need to read for this is they most of these books they get from Amazon, and to do that you need an Amazon account. And a lot of these schools, especially the larger schools, they have bought Kindles for the schools because there are a lot of kids out there that their parents just can't afford to buy them a Kindle. So now you're telling these kids that, hey, you can bring these things in, but not all the kids can do it. So now you're letting some of them, you're saying you can all do it, but not everyone can because they can't afford it. And that's why some of these schools have went to purchasing these Kindles themselves to accommodate all the students. But with that being said, Amazon has a 1-for-1 ratio. It's one account per one Kindle or one notepad or one e-reader or whatever it is. That's a lot to handle on these for these librarians. I mean, if you have a large school and you've got hundreds of Kindles, now these librarians are now responsible for managing hundreds of Amazon's accounts. That's just absolutely ridiculous to put that on these librarians to have to do that. If these kids that do have Kindles on their own, most likely they already have an Amazon account of their own. Let them download that book on their own, read it on their own, in their own time at their house. Don't don't be telling them that they can come to school and do it. Don't be handing out these Kindles. Don't be putting all the extra work on these librarians when they don't need it and when it's not necessary. Put the onus back on the kids to do the work that they're supposed to do in school and do the work that they're supposed to do at home. Take away the distractions. Don't bring the distractions in. Take them out. In conclusion, I am basically I'm against bringing these media devices like the e-readers, the Kindles, and all of that into the schools. I just believe they're a big distraction to the children. I believe they're a big burden on the teachers and the librarians because the teachers have to now manage the students and watch and make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing and not uh, reading and watching things that they're not supposed to be during school time and all that. So I believe that they should be kept at home where they're supposed to be kept and not brought into the schools for all of these reasons that I just stated. And I hope that with these reasons that I just gave you that you will agree with me as well. Thank you for listening. Again, I'm Robert Nelson, and that concludes my brief.